first video that I'm recording, and we will be playing one of the puzzles in the Cracking the Cryptic Miracle Sudoku app. You can find this app on Steam if it looks interesting to you. They have 6 different apps, and they're all pretty fun to play, so I highly recommend them. And let's get right into one. So we're on a 4-star level right now. It looks like we have a non-consecutive sandwich Sudoku. So if you don't know the rules on this, I can explain them. This help says what it is, but you know, these clues up here indicate that the sum of the numbers between 1 and 9 will add up to 0. So the 0 clue means that there will be a 1 and a 9 directly next to each other somewhere within this column. Same with this column. Now, this 3 indicates that the sum will be a 3. Now, you can't use 1 and 2 because 1 cannot be included in the sum and 9 cannot be included in the sum. So it will be a 1 and a 9 with a 3 in the middle somewhere. So there will be a 3 along one of these. Now, one of the things we could do with this non-consecutive is if we take a look at this clue, this is saying we must add up to 5 between a 1 and a 9. So let's say that we're here and here. Now, our clue says that we might be able to have a 2, 3, or a 5. However, we can eliminate this 2, 3 combination because the rules of non-consecutive Sudoku say that you cannot have a 2 placed next to a 1 or a 3. And you can't. So, like, if you have a 5 somewhere, let's say we have a 5 right here, we cannot place a 4 or a 6 in any of the surrounding cells. So we'll keep that in mind as we solve this Sudoku and eliminate some of these sandwich possibilities. So immediately when solving a sandwich Sudoku, you should look for clues that will, lead. We have no numbers, so we should look for a clue that will help us out, such as this 35. This 35 indicates that we will sum up to 35. Well, the numbers 1 through 9 add up to 10, or rather 1 and 9 add up to 10, whereas the sum of the numbers 1 through 9 add up to 45. So if we take 45 minus 10, we get 35, and we're left with all of the numbers, which means somewhere in this we will see all of these numbers. That's the only combination. So we could use this little 1-9 tool. That's only there when you do sandwich Sudokus. So we have a 1 there or a 9 there. We don't know which goes where for now. So the next thing I'm going to look at is this right here. We have all of the numbers 1 through 9 except for a 4. So we need a 4 either there or there, which I'm not going to note that for now. The main thing is that we will have a 1 or a 9 in one of these 2 spots. We can look at this 6 clue and say that this 1 and 9, there's no way we add up to 6 with all those numbers, so we can immediately say 1, 9 goes there and a 1, 9 goes there, placing our first number of 4 right there. So now I like to use these X's to indicate that we no longer have any possibilities for a 1 and a 9. It helps out a lot while solving sandwich Sudoku. That way you don't get stuck up on all of these possibilities. We can slowly eliminate. The best place to start is getting our 1s and our 9s placed. So this 6 here, we can use this clue. So we won't contain a 4 because the 4 is all the way up there, far away from this 1, 9. And we know that we can't have a 6 here because there's no spot to place the 1 or the 9 over x here, a 6 here, and a 1, 9 there. Now we can use this 0 clue to say that there will be a 1, 9 here as well. Now we have a 1 and 9 in this row, so we can eliminate 1, 9 possibilities, as well as this column and this row. We no longer have any 1, 9 possibilities there. So now I think I will look at, well, we can use this 0 clue for a second. If we have 1 or a 9 here, we'd have to place 1 there as well. But this tells us we have to have 1 here, so we cannot have 1 there. They'll be somewhere along this line. We don't know where yet though. So let's use this 19 clue. Something I like to do is say, okay, I know a 6 will not be included in the 1, 9, so we can eliminate all combinations that include a 6. Another thing that's useful is saying, okay, we have a distance of 3 between the 1 and the 9. So let's eliminate all possibilities that are not a length of 3. Something else you can look out for is if you have, let's say, let's look for one right quick. Well, I'm not seeing one, so I don't think it'll really come up in this Sudoku. But let's say you had a 2, 3, 4 clue. There's no way with 3 consecutive numbers that you can add those up. Well, they would give you the sum that you need, but in non-consecutive sandwich, you would not be able to place them in any order to have you'd have a confliction basically. That wouldn't be possible, but I'm not seeing any of those. However, we can eliminate stuff like this 5 here. You know, we'll have a 5 in one of those positions. We can use these 0 clues as well. This 0 tells us that we will not have a 1 and a 9 here because we can't place 1 in this cell. That's why the X's are a good tool to use. Now we can also do that here and here. We could use this 0 clue to do the same. Place an X there, an X there, and an X there. So now we can come down here to this 0 and say that we cannot place a 1, 9 there. So we have a 1, 9 right here. Now this box, I should have done that with this box earlier as well, is full. We cannot have any 1s or 9s left in that box. In this box, it can only go in this position, so you must add 1 there. Now, looking at this, without even checking the clue yet, we can tell can't place a 16 there, obviously. So we will not have a 1, 9 there. We will have a 1, 9 here. And let's get rid of the 6 clue as well so we don't look at it. We've already used that one. We've used this 0. We've used this 0. So now let's take a look at this 19. We have a distance of 3 and our only possible combination is 4, 7, 8 because the 6 eliminated the other possible combination. So we will have a 4, 7, 8. Now we know that the 7 and an 8 are consecutive numbers. We cannot have those directly next to each other. So we cannot place 1 in the middle. We must place our 4 in the middle. That puts a 7, 8 here and a 7, 8 here. Let's look at this 24 clue. We have a distance of 5 between the 1 and the 9. So let's go ahead and remove all the 4 clues. Now let's look at this row. I saw this earlier but forgot to fill it in. So we can place X's in there because we have our 1 and our 9. And we can use the 6 clue. We have a space of 1 here, so we must place a 6 there. we know we will have to use the 6 clue because the 4 will not be contained. So we can go ahead and say that this 6 is the only possible one we can use, you know. Now, this 5 clue comes in very useful. We already got rid of the 2, 3, which could have theoretically been placed there, but it can't anymore because it's consecutive. We know we have one here because that would be too big of a gap for a 5 clearly, but now we can place a 1, 9 there and a 5 right here and get rid of this clue. We can also go ahead and place in a couple more X's, such as these ones. The 0 clue is now telling us our 1, 9 is there, and that's good because we have all of the X's placed, so it would have been pretty bad if that didn't work out like that. What else do we have? We have a 1, 9 in this position because it can go nowhere else and we still need one. So if we look at this 25 clue, we can eliminate this combination. Now I'm just looking around. Yes, this is what we need. We need a 6 here and a 1, 9 here. That places an X here. So now we also have this there and there, and our 1, 9 there and there, which works out for this 0. So now we don't know which one is which quite yet, but we have all of our 1s and 9s placed. So something I like to do is go ahead and highlight all of these, hopefully not misclick, and highlight them for real. So now it will be very easy to tell what's a 1 and what's a 9, so our eyes will be drawn to it when we look at the clues. So let's go ahead and look at this 3 and 5 right here. Those clues are now no longer useful, so we can unselect them. This clue, I'm going to leave that, even though we know which one it is, I'm going to leave that there, just so we are reminded that we still have something left to place. It's not fully placed yet, so we'll leave that there. Same thing with this 31. Now let's look at this 10 clue. So we do not have a 2, 3, 5, so we only have 2 spaces. Now we also do not have a 6 because this box contains a 6 here. So we can get rid of that clue. Perhaps one of these other clues will help out. This is a distance of 5. This one is also a distance of 5. I'm just scanning these to see if there's any numbers that cannot go inside, so that way we'd be able to place them outside if that was the case, but I'm not seeing that yet, so just something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the 16 clue again. Not quite seeing where we should go next with this puzzle. However, the 6 here, we already used that. We used the 6 here, so let's just get those out of focus. Maybe we should do some regular Sudoku. Check out our 5s. So we have a couple of them placed, so it's possible that we'll be able to do something with them. So I'm going to go ahead and say this 5 here indicates to me that we have a 5 in one of these possible positions. This 4 tells me, well, this 4 more specifically tells me we have something in one of these. However, that's not too useful. So let's look for something else. 5s in some other places. Yes, so if we come down here and look at this box, we indicated earlier that we have a 7, 8 right here. So we can't have a 5 there. We also cannot have 1 in any of these filled in spaces. And this consecutive rule tells us with this 6 here, there cannot be a 5 there. So we can place our 5 right here. Wrong notation. Now this 5 acts on this cell fairly decently. It tells us that we have a 5 here and a 5 here. Because of these 6s as well, we can't have one next to a 6. Now this also tells me that this 4 cannot go here or here, because that would eliminate the possibilities of our 5. It would get rid of it, make no possible places to put a 5 here. So we have a 4, we cannot place it in those or that one. We have a 4 up here saying we can't place it in that one. So we must place a 4 in one of these two, and that helps us out. Because if we have a 4 here, we can't have a 5 there. If we have a 4 here, we definitely couldn't have a 5 there. So we can go ahead and place our 5. Now we have a 5 in one of these two positions. A 5 in one of these two positions. A 5 in one of, well, no, wrong. A 5 cannot go up here because of this 5. It cannot go here because of this 5, and it also can't go there because of the 4, so we have a 5 right here. To place that 5 now. Which, let's place that one. And we are now done with our 5s. With these non-consecutive Sudokus, it is fairly common to have one number placed just based on, the unique design that the creator gave us to work with. I don't know how people set these up to work out with a single solution for the whole thing. I could never do that. So moving on, we have a 6 would be probably a good number to go on with. Since we have all of our 5s placed, our possibilities for 6s are now more limited. Such as we cannot have a 6 here or in any of those. So we need to have a 6 down here. We can place a 6 in this box right here. We need a 6 in one of these 3 positions in box 4. And we need a 6 in one of these 2 positions in box 1. That 6 can help us put a line down here of 6s. And we can go ahead and fill these in. I don't like filling in more than 3 numbers for the combinations because it gets pretty messy if you just start throwing in all the possible combinations. Like, I don't want to go say, well, a 2 can go here, so that'll just get too messy. So we try to put in useful notes. The reason that this is useful is because this sort of L-shaped pattern in non-consecutive Sudoku indicates that we cannot put a 7 or a 5 here, ignoring that we have all the 5s done already. So if we try to put a 7 here, that will eliminate all combinations of the 6. So we want to just not have, that's why I write that one. And similarly, with this straight line shape 3 across, it indicates that we cannot put a 7 or a 5 in the middle, because that would also eliminate all of the combinations for the 6. So let's look. We have all of our 6s filled in, notation terms, not actual sixes, but you know. So maybe we look at this clue. I see that I have a 5 in here, but all of these contain a 5, so that's not really helpful yet. This clue we know has a 5 now, so we can eliminate those. Well, this 6 here, we can get rid of that note because none of the remaining ones contain a 6. So we definitely can't have a 6 there. We will have either a 4, 7 or a 3, 8. And I don't think I can narrow that down quite yet. But what I can do is notice this straight line in the 6's acted up here and makes it so that we can have a 6 right here. I'm sort of scanning through to see if there's anything that would eliminate a clue based on the 5s that we have placed and the notes that we have. So this one, for example, we do not have a 5 containing because it is outside right here. So we can eliminate that combination. So now we know we have a 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So a 5 and an 8 are left out, meaning we can place an 8 down here. And that helps us resolve this clue. We now have a 7 and 8. And we can strike that one out so we don't look at it again. Now let's look at our 4s. Similarly to our 6's, we can probably fill in a lot of clues now that we have all of our 5s done, such as this. We can have a 4 in one of these 2 positions. We can have a 4 in one of these 3 positions. We can have a 4 in one of these 2 positions. And I'm going to go ahead and note that this is a 4-6 pair with the center markings. Well, our 4 down here, this clue, tells us we need to have one in the middle right there. So that's good. Now we need to have a 4 in one of these 2 positions. We cannot have one here because of the 5. So we will place that and indicate this is a 4-6 pair. Now let's take a look back at this. We have a 4, 5, and a 6, which is in 2 of them. So we can eliminate this clue. I don't see a way to eliminate this quite yet. Actually, I do. So we know the positions of our 4, 5, or 4, 6, and 7 rather. Nah, I'm talking nonsense. Our 4, 5, 6. I'm thinking 2 things at once. So now we look over here. The question is, can we fit a 2 and an 8? Either one of those right here. The answer is yes. However, if we look at the 3 and our 7, this 4 blocks out our 3, and this 6 blocks out our 7. So we cannot have that, which means that we have either a 2 or an 8 here. You have either a 2 or an 8 here. I just want to check something real quick. If this is a 2, we will have a 9 here and a 1 here, which will place a 1 here. And that does not break. And similarly with 8, if we have an 8 here, we have a 1, 9, 9. We can still place our 2, so I wanted to check and make sure that we couldn't resolve our 1s and 9s yet. So we can keep going on with the 4s. Well, I'm not really seeing anything else that's too useful. Like, I don't want to go ahead and market all those because that doesn't really tell us anything. Even though it's true, that doesn't tell us anything useful, so we're not going to put that in. Perhaps we should look at our 7s now that we have a good amount of 6 clues in and a good amount of 6s placed. So right here, we can place a 7 in one of these two positions. That puts a 7 out of there. So with a 6, we cannot have a 7 right there, so we must place a 7 up here. The 7 says we have to have one down here somewhere, which resolved this 7 clue. We can now place a 7 there. We need a 7 one of those, but that's not really a useful clue because we already know the contents of this. However, if we didn't, it would be useful in the fact that, just like these two shapes, it blocks out a 6 or a 8 from this position if we had 7s in there. But we already know that's a 1 or a 9, so we don't need to do that. Okay, so this 7 indicates that we cannot have one there or there. We also cannot have one here because of these 6. So we now have a 4-7 pair here. And this will give us another pair in the column, and we can see if it resolves. So we need a 2 and a 3 still in this column. We can actually mark that because this 4 blocks out a 3 from that position. So we can place our 2 there and a 3 down here. It's going to do a last check on the 7s. Fill in stuff like this. Okay, now take a look at this column. Column 3. Where can we put a 7 in column 3? Well, we have a 4-6 pair here, a 2-8 pair there, a 1-9 pair there, and a 5 here. And we just indicated that the 6 blocks out that position, so a 7 must go into row 2 of column 3. I'm now going to indicate that, well, no, we have a 7 there, so yes, we have a 7 here as well. This 7 blocks out those two positions. This 7 blocks out that position, and these 6s block out a 7 from there. So we know we have a 7 down here. And now we can ask the same question we just did about this column, except now we look at row 6. We have a 1-9 pair. We can only have a 2 or an 8 here. We cannot have a 7 in any of these 3 because of the 6. And we cannot have a 7 here because of the 7. There's a 5 blocking that, so we must place the 7 right here. So that's all of our 7 clues for now, I believe. I guess we can indicate there will be a 7 there. That might be useful, it might not be. We'll find out in a little bit. So I think I'm gonna keep going and check with the 8s because we have, well, I see it now. But this is a very useful find because it will now resolve at least some of our 1s and 9s, if not all of them. So we cannot have a 1 here because of the 8, or rather we have to have a 1 and not a 9. So let's go ahead and see how many 1s we can place. Oops. And now our 9s. And we still have this 1-9 structure here that will eventually be resolved by a consecutive clue. In a normal Sudoku, this would be known as a uniqueness error because we can place 1 in either of the two. We can place a 1 there, a 1 there, 9 there, and 9 there. Or we can place a 1 in these two and a 9 in these two, and we would never know. And it wouldn't be a unique solution, but we know this puzzle has a unique solution. We just need to resolve this later on once we get more clues put in. Perhaps an 8 or a 2. We might be able to find it here with the 8s. So we know an 8 cannot go there or there. Let's place an 8 here. We can place an 8 in one of these two positions. An 8 cannot go here because this is the only places for a 7. We would block that out. So an 8 has to go in one of these two. And up here, actually, we need an 8 in one of these two because the 4-7 pair can't put 1 there and, well, the 8 in that column. So we can look at this 9 to tell us an 8 must go up here. And we have a 3 left to place. Let's go ahead and do that before we forget. This also resolves this clue down here. Now we need a 7 in this box, or an 8 rather. Looking at these 7 clues, we cannot have an 8 there. So let's use that trick again and place 8s there and there. We can place our 8 here actually to resolve, well, the rest of our 8s, fortunately. So looks like we'll be relying on the 2s to figure out which of these is a 1 and which of these is a 9. So let's go ahead and maybe go to the 3s. So we have a 3 in down here. We can place our first 3, or our next 3 rather. And same thing with down here. That 4 eliminates those. So we can place a 3, and let's do the 7 before we forget. Which that resolved a lot of things actually. So that's good. Now we still need a 2 in this box. We can place a 2 there. We still need a 2 in this box, so we can place 1 there. And that will resolve the last of our 1s and our 9s. So we're quickly approaching the solution. We need a 2 here and a 2 here. We need a 2 in one of these two positions. And a 2 in one of these two positions. Let's look at our 3s again. So this 4 tells us a 3 is there. We need a 3 there, which resolves this 6, 4. This 4 places a 4 here. Let's look back at our 3s. So we need a 3 here, and a 3 here. We're done with the 3s now. We can place a 2 here. And this 3 tells us that we cannot have a 2 there anymore. So let's place our 2s. Let's get this 6 in. 6, 4, 4, 4, 7, 7, and R6. So we just completed this 4-star puzzle in 34 minutes and 23 seconds. Just not a bad time, especially with, explaining everything. Would have done it quicker, but that's not really the point. Anyways, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you would like to see more Sudoku. I also have the cracking the cryptic. Well, I have all of them, so I could do a normal Sudoku, I could do a thermo, a killer Sudoku, miracle Sudoku, sandwich Sudoku, and I think the last one is a chess Sudoku. I might be forgetting one, didn't really count, but anyways, that's all for this video, so I will see you